Welcome everyone to a new video on ITC eligibility in case of non-payment of tax by supplier. As we all are aware that government has been becoming more stringent in terms of widening tax base, tax collection, investigating ingenuine transactions, issuing notices, etc., and allowing ITC only to the recipient when it matches with GSTR 2B. So the very condition of payment of tax by supplier has been challenged multiple times in front of multiple courts. The courts have differently interpreted on multiple stages. In this video, we will discuss the legal provisions for claiming ITC, the condition of payment of tax by supplier, how it is made in the Act, and what are the implications. We will discuss the jurisprudence so far that has traveled on the issue, the recent rulings, that how different courts have interpreted the issue in different circumstances, and the recent amendment in the law that has been brought up in light of these rulings and the interpretations, and lastly, our view and way forward in light of these developments. So Section 16 provides for eligibility of ITC to a registered person on goods and services if they are used or intended to be used in course of furtherance of business. And ITC being a benefit, it is coupled with some conditions and restrictions that the registered person must have possessed tax invoice, he must have received goods or services, the tax charge on supplies made by purchasers has actually been paid by the supplier to the government, and he must have furnished return under Section 39, which is GSTR 3B. Talking about the jurisprudence so far that has traveled on the issue, this condition was there under some of the VAT laws also before introduction of GST. In the case of Arise India, in case of Delhi VAT Act, the condition of payment of taxes by supplier, which was there under Section 92G, was challenged constitutionally. There, the court held that the condition of payment of tax by supplier so as to claim credit by recipient is an onerous burden on the purchasing dealer, and the provision does not distinguish between bona fide and a non-bona fide purchasing dealer. So if a bona fide purchaser has acted in all the good manner, has invoices, has all the genuine transactions chain, etc., then he should not be disentitled to the ITC claim which is there under law. Basis that the court held that the provision is arbitrary and it does not distinguish between bona fide and non-bona fide taxpayer. Similarly, it was held in Sethi Flour Mills in the case of Allahabad High Court. Contrary to this, in case of Mahalakshmi Cotton, the Bombay High Court held that the provision under Section 48 of the Maharashtra VAT Act will be interpreted strictly. The condition of payment of tax by the selling dealer for us to claim the ITC set off by the recipient dealer has to be seen strictly. Under GST, lot of times the constitutionality of Section 16(2)(c), that is the payment of tax by supplier condition, and as well as the Section 16(2)(a) condition, which is that ITC needs to be allowed only when it completely matches with GSTR 2B. So that was challenged in the case of NGK and Associates LLP before several other rulings, and also in the case of Sahil Enterprises in front of Tripura High Court. So in these cases, the petitioners argued on multiple points that yes, the bona fide recipient should not be disentitled to ITC when he has acted in a good manner. He has all the genuine transactions, documents, trails, etc. He has made payment to the supplier, and due to supplier's default, ITC should not be denied to him. If it is a supplier's default, then government can very well initiate recovery proceedings against the supplier. And for the supplier's default, ITC should not be denied to the recipient. Subsequently, in the case of DY Bethel Enterprises by Madras High Court, there was a situation that the department alleged non-receipt of goods by petitioner and hence contended that Section 16(2)(c) condition, which is payment of tax by supplier, will not be met. So therefore, ITC should not be allowed to the recipient. So there, the court held that it is the prerogative of the revenue to verify the documents and genuineness of the transactions. Without that, it seems that they have not initiated recovery proceedings against supplier. So basis that, the court held and court directed the government that he must initiate recovery proceeding against supplier first and then thereafter conclude on the ITC eligibility to recipient. In the case of LGW Industries and others, and there were lot many orders which were tagged in this case, ITC was allowed on certain purchases to the petitioner which was made from certain non-existing suppliers as alleged by the department, and also in case of purchases made from suppliers whose registration was cancelled retrospectively after the transactions were made. So in this case, the court held that since the transactions were made before cancellation, it cannot be the sole ground for disallowing ITC automatically. The court held that after having verifying the genuineness and document trail of those purchases and before cancellation, the court held that the details of the supplies were readily available on the government portal so as to be verified by the recipient also. So basis all these grounds, the court held that ITC should not be disallowed. And similar ruling was passed in the case of Sanchita Kuntu by Calcutta High Court. Recently, in the case of Jai Balaji, ITC was disallowed on purchases made from certain suppliers whose registration were cancelled after the transactions were made. So in this case, the court held that since transactions were made after the cancellation of registration, so it is apparent that the supplier could not have paid the taxes to the government, and therefore section 16(2)(c) condition cannot be met here. So in this case, because of lack of merit, the court denied ITC to the recipient. Now, after these jurisprudence, recently there are lot many issues on different situations that the department is denying ITC, be it mismatching of ITC with GSTR 2B, be it cancellation of registration of the supplier, or actual non-payment of tax by the supplier. So we'll see that how different courts have interpreted the provision in different situations. Firstly, in the case of cancellation of supplier's registration, recently in the case of Gargo Traders, ITC was denied to the recipient that supplier's registration was cancelled retrospectively and it was found as non-existent. The department alleged that tax has not paid by the supplier and therefore ITC cannot be allowed to the petitioner recipient. In this case, the court referred LGW case. It was a similar to that situation and it held that at the time of transaction, supplier details was readily available on the portal to verify all the details, genuineness, etc. So therefore, there is no failure on the part of the petitioner recipient to say that yes, the transactions or purchase transactions were not genuine. The court held that merely because the supplier's registrations are cancelled with retrospective effect will not automatically lead to ITC denial to the recipient. The transactions were made before cancellation. It was made genuinely by the purchaser. So in that case, due to bona fide conduct of the recipient, ITC cannot be denied because of the challenge to section 16(2)(c) condition. Subsequently, in the case of Pinstar Automotive by Madras High Court, in this case also, the ITC was denied on similar ground that supplier registration was cancelled retrospectively and he was not found to be there, and hence tax payment cannot be made by the supplier. So in this case also, the department alleged that section 16(2)(c) condition is not met. But however, in this case, the Madras High Court held that the condition which is there under section 16(2)(c), that ITC shall be allowed to the recipient only when tax is paid by the supplier, has to be read strictly. When ITC is given as a benefit to the recipient, it can be coupled with certain conditions and restrictions, and those conditions, including payment of tax by supplier, needs to be read as strictly. However, the court also discussed that if a subsequent tax is recovered from the supplier by the government and also ITC reversal is demanded from the recipient, then it would lead to a situation of double taxation. And to avoid that, court directed that sufficient mechanism should be brought in the law for claiming ITC or claiming refund by the recipient subsequently when tax is recovered from the supplier by the government. So in light of these directions, recently there have been an amendment in law where Rule 37A has been introduced after Section 16(2)(c) and Section 41 of the CGST Act. As per this rule, if supplier has filed GSTR 1 but not GSTR 3B, that means that the ITC is matched with GSTR 2B of the recipient, but the supplies details are not furnished in GSTR 3B of supplier. Therefore, there is no sufficient proof at the part of supplier that he has paid taxes to the government. The provision says that if supplier has filed GSTR 1 but not GSTR 3B till 30th September of next financial year, then what should be the consequence? The consequence would be that the recipient needs to reverse ITC till 30th November of next financial year, which is the due date for claiming ITC. If he doesn't reverse ITC by that date, interest needs to be payable under Section 50. And subsequently, if the supplier has filed GSTR 3B, then it can be considered as a proof of making payment by the supplier to the government. Therefore, recipient can thereafter re-avail ITC without any time limit. So this provision is a beneficial provision to the extent it provides clarity that yes, after subsequent payment by the supplier to the government or after filing 3B by supplier in respect of those transactions, the recipient can reclaim those credit without any time limit. However, the provisions are still insufficient as to provide the proper mechanism for recipient to verify payment of tax by supplier. Because the main reason for this is that 3B is not an invoice-wise detail. 3B is a consolidated return for making tax payment and claiming ITC. There may be a situation that in some of the cases, the supplier has not paid taxes to the government, and for that, the recipient cannot be held responsible because the recipient has no mechanism to verify tax payment by supplier, and he has done all his good part in respect of those transactions, and it is beyond the control of recipient to verify the same. Next situation is that department has denied ITC due to ITC mismatch cases where the ITC is not appearing in GSTR 2B, and basis that the department released that tax is also not paid by supplier to the government. So therefore, both the conditions are not met, and hence ITC should not be allowed to recipient. So recently, in the case of Suncraft Energy, the revenue demanded ITC reversal because it was not matching with GSTR 2 and 3, and that too for the period where matching was not required under the law. So they allege that because tax payment is also not made by suppliers, so ITC should not be allowed. In this case, the High Court considered both the press release of the government itself, one which was introduced at the time of 2A facilitation, which re-emphasized that GSTR 2A is merely a facilitation for taxpayers to see the ITC details. It is not a tool or it is not a mandate to claim ITC basis 2A only. And secondly, it also emphasized on the press release which government brought at the time of new return system proposal, wherein it proposed and it clarified that wherever there will be a situation of suppliers default in making in paying taxes to the government, then in that case the supplier needs to be investigated first, and ITC reversal can be demanded from the recipient only in cases of exceptional nature, like supplier is missing, supplier is has closed his business, etc. So in those cases only ITC reversal can be demanded, and automatic ITC reversal cannot be demanded for recipient merely because of mismatch or non-payment of taxes by the supplier. So basis this, the court held that proceeding must be initiated first against the supplier, and without verifying the genuineness of the transaction, automatic ITC reversal cannot be demanded from recipient. It has correctly analyzed the press releases and the legal provisions where there is a bona fide conduct of the recipient and all the genuine transactions are proved by him, then ITC should not be disallowed due to supplier's default. Again, the government has all its powers to investigate the supplier and initiate proceeding against him independently. So due to supplier's default, beyond a point and beyond the control of recipient, ITC cannot be denied. Next, in case of Bimal Alloys, it was a case where the applicant asked the question of claiming ITC in case where his immediate supplier has paid taxes, but the preceding supplier to the immediate supplier did not pay tax to the government. So here the authority, while ruling the question, it went beyond the provisions of section 16(2)(c), which says that tax needs to be paid by the supplier for claiming ITC by the recipient. That means that it's a one transaction and it is not the whole chain of the transaction. And in this case, the AAR held that because of section 16(2)(c) provision, since the preceding supplier did not pay taxes to the government, while the immediate supplier has paid taxes to the government, it will not matter. Therefore, for this reason also, the AR held that ITC will not be allowed to the recipient. So in our view, this ruling is totally incorrect because it has traveled beyond the provisions of section 16(2)(c). Next is that the cases where there are allegations of non-payment of tax by supplier and basis that the department denies ITC to supplier. Recently, in the case of Astha Enterprises, the court held that ITC is in the nature of benefit or a concession to the taxpayer, and it cannot be held as a right of the taxpayer. Therefore, that can be coupled with some conditions or restrictions. The court further held that there are certain conditions in section 16, including payment of tax by supplier, for recipient to claim ITC. So therefore, all those conditions needs to be strictly fulfilled, and those conditions needs to be fulfilled cumulatively. The court further distinguished the case of DY Bethel given by Madras High Court. It states that the High Court did not consider the provision of section 16(2)(c) in that case. In that case, what the High Court held that it directed the government to initiate proceeding against the supplier first, and not demanding the ITC reversal automatically from the recipient in case of ingenuine or non-payment of tax by the supplier. In this case, the court emphasized that Section 16(2)(c) condition is in seriatim and it needs to be fulfilled strictly. The court held that ITC can be allowed to recipient only when this condition is met. The court further held that irrespective of the fact that payment is made by recipient to the supplier, and when the payment of tax is not made by the supplier, because the condition is not met fully, therefore ITC cannot be allowed. The court further held that despite proving the genuineness of the transactions, documentations, and merely proving the channel of payment by recipient to the supplier, that will not dissolve the liability of recipient to ensure tax payment by supplier to government, and thereafter only he can claim ITC. Lastly, the court also recognized that if there is a case of recovery of tax from supplier and ITC reversal from the recipient also, in that case, it would have led to the case of double taxation. So therefore, to avoid that, the court held that a subsequent refund may be claimed by the recipient in case tax is collected from the supplier. So in our view, different courts in different situations have interpreted the provision in a different manner. Some have held to be invalid because of the lack of mechanism, because of not considering the bona fide conduct of the recipient, or because of impossibility at recipient end to ensure ultimate tax collection or tax payment by the supplier to the government. So in our view, the condition which is there under Section 16(2)(c) is creating an onerous burden on the recipient in as much as it creates an impossible task on the recipient to ensure tax payment by supplier. And it is also a settled principle that once a condition is impossible to perform, the condition should be read as not applicable, and not that it has to be applicable, because till now also there are lack of mechanism that, like I said, that 3B is not invoice wise, etc. So due to all those lack of mechanisms, and where the recipient has proved its bona fide to a good extent, then beyond a certain point, he has no control over the supplier, where he is not involved in any of the ingenuine transaction. So therefore, that impossible condition cannot be met by recipient at any cost. In the case of Ecom-Jill, the Supreme Court also held that wherever the recipient is claiming ITC and he needs to prove that claim of ITC is valid, the burden of proving genuineness of the transaction will lie on the purchasing dealer only. So it is also applicable under GST regime. In our view, as much as the genuineness is proved by the recipient, beyond that, if it is a failure on the supplier to pay tax to the government, then it is a supplier's default, and ITC cannot be denied to the recipient. The bona fide recipient should not be denied ITC due to any default by supplier beyond his control. And apart from the legal stands, there are certain mechanisms of the portal to ensure that recipient is aware of supplier's compliances. Like recipient can regularly verify the registration status of its vendors, return filing status of the vendors, GSTR 3B is filed or not. And also there is a mechanism to see the tax liability comparison of suppliers itself, that difference between GSTR 1 and GSTR 3B of supplier. Where there are significant differences, it can probe the suppliers, etc., and also seek clarifications. So all these actions can add to the genuineness of the recipient and add to the bona fide conduct of the recipient. Despite that, if there are situations where non-payment of tax is made by the supplier and ITC is denied to the recipient, then taxpayers can litigate the issue on higher forums. That in case of Circular 183, specifically for the year 1718 and 1819, where there was no matching provision mandate under the Act, the department has provided a mechanism that in those cases also, if it is not matching with 2B, the certificates need to be sought from the supplier CA or suppliers, depending on the value. And those certificates need to be furnished to the department for proof of payment of tax by the supplier. So all these mechanisms are emphasizing on the point of tax payment by the supplier. And subsequently, Circular 193 also came up for similar mechanism for financial year 1920 and 2021. So in light of these mechanisms, where there are doubts that tax is not paid by the supplier, then recipient can seek those certificates from suppliers or supplier CA as a backup for proof of payment of tax by them. and secure his ITC claim. And lastly, to protect recipient claim of ITC, it can incorporate suitable indemnity clauses in contracts to recover any loss that may happen to him due to supplier's default. With this, we come to the end of video. Thanks for watching.